Hi everybody, Steve Griffiths here, developer of the MTPredictor software program. In today's MTPredictor video, I'd like to look at how the NQ in particular unfolded yesterday, which was actually Friday the 27th November. Now this was actually a short trading day because it came on the day after Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving was actually on the 26th. So many traders may not have actually been around trading. They may have been at home with friends and family. But I want to look at particularly the NQ because it summarizes some of the MTPredictor techniques absolutely brilliantly, particularly on some trades up to midday. So first and foremost, I'd like to remind the more experienced users that we don't use the STF color to gain the large degree support or resistance areas. We use the higher time frame chart. So let's go to a 15-minute chart. Remember, we use a higher time frame of between 3 and 5 time frames higher. So if you're trading a daily chart, it would be weekly. If you're trading, say, a 15-minute Forex, it would be hourly. Because this is a 3-minute chart we're looking at, would go out to the 15-minute. So even before yesterday even opened, and I'll just using our bar replay mode and jump back to the close of, well, I say close because it was Thanksgiving. So just before Friday opened, and you can see we had a high made here on the thin trading during Thanksgiving. But the point being is that this was a swing up here. Can you see that? The software connected it. So we go back to the last swing pivot, and this is an important swing. It's the last swing into a prior high or low. So we go to here, and that's the support zone or potential support zone on our chart in advance. If we turn training mode off, let's see what happened for the rest of the day. You can see the market opened, it came down, but look where it found support. It found support right at this area that we had on our chart even before the day even opened. So this support zone was there in advance, ready and waiting for you. That nailed the low of the day. Let's go to the 3-minute chart, and again I want to go back using our training mode or bar replay mode and go back to just as the day was opening there. And as you can see, there's the support zone. It's there before the market even gets there. So as I step forward, you can see the market. There was a nice outside gap open down play there as well for the more experienced users among you that I don't want to talk about today. But I just want to show you how the market was declining down. Now this was the interesting point as well, is that, in fact I'll come back to this in a minute, but just notice how that came down, made a low, and as I scroll forward, turn training mode off, you can see that now the very low of the day for you as well. But the point being is that this was on the chart in advance, so that gave you an area of potential support even before the market got there. So what were the trades? Well, we ignore this TS3 buy setup because that was right just before the end of the early closing. One setup I'd like to look at is, if I go back to there and go forward one bar, is this setup. Can you see this bar? If I go to our volume, can you see how this bar made a new low below this previous low here? If I scroll out, that was a fairly significant low. So most amateur traders would see that. If I put a low tag on that just to highlight it, that's the area at 71.25. And can you see how this bar went through it? It went through it on high volume. In fact, this was our VS color on our volume. In other words, it was telling us that something was going on here with this wide range bar. Now most amateur traders would look at this as selling, but we know that it's actually entered support, but not any old support, higher time frame support. We now look to the next bar, and you can see we get a blue buy bar. This indicates that the professionals are now stepping into the market and likely to move it higher. This could then give you a potential trade off the low of this. Normally the trade would bid into the DP off the prior swing, which is right the way up there. So if I place the risk reward on here, it would be right the way up there, but obviously it was a short trading day yesterday or on Friday, so you don't really expect it to go all the way there. Let's turn training mode off, and as you can see, that would have caught the very low of the day for you. It's amazing how many times our larger degree support or resistance DPs catch the higher time frame or catch the highs and lows of the day. And here, this volume also indicated that the market was making a low and the professionals were going to move it higher. So that was one potential trade setup. Another one, bearing in mind that we came in at large degree support, is what we also like to look at, and this is one of my other favorite trade setup, is what I call a Holy Grail trade setup. In other words, we're looking for the market to make an initial rally off the important low as defined by higher time frame support, an initial correction down, an initial rally up, and if I put the Elliott waves on here, you can see this is what we anticipate: a wave 1, a wave 2, and a wave 3. What's important about the wave 2 is that if I right mouse click, do Elliott wave minor, it subdivides, or actually I'll come down to a lower time frame chart, because what I was looking for, if I clear the last off, is that wave 2 to subdivide into a lesser degree or minor ABC. This is what I call the MTPredictor Holy Grail trade setup, where we're looking to trade off the wave 2 to catch a wave 3 swing. If I come down to the slightly shorter time frame, you can see that's exactly what we got here, with the market making an initial rally, an initial correction, and then a move up. If I place the analysis on this TS1 buy setup here, you can see that gives us your position size, which keeps your initial risk small and under control. But rather than looking to go to our first target, we're actually looking for the market to go to the typical wave 3 WPT, which was there. And that's exactly what the market did. In fact, it was actually a tick or so shy from that, and I'll show you how to manage that in a minute. But the point being is that because we had a higher time frame support there, which we had on our chart in advance, this was the initial rally, a wave 1. This was the initial correction that subdivided into an ABC. This is a wave 2. You're now anticipating a strong wave 3 kind of rally. This is what I call a Holy Grail trade setup. Not because it has a high percentage of winners, it's because the profit is large in relation to the initial risk, because you're catching the wave 3, which is normally the strongest and longest in a completed 5-wave sequence. As the market rallied up here, bear in mind you're on a short trading day, so you don't really want to be in the market too long. You got literally within 2 ticks of our target. So the target was at 91.25 and the market got to just there, 90.75. So what do you do if you're within 2 ticks of a level, particularly when you have high volume coming in as well? Well, I think the sensible thing to do is start to trail at the bar lows. In other words, 1 tick below the bar lows. So you'd probably start to trail 1 tick below this bar. You then go to the second one, obviously raise the stop a little bit to 88, and then you'd get stopped out at that level 1 tick below that bar's low. And the result would therefore have been a lovely 6.6R, or in other words 6.5 times greater than the initial risk. If you hadn't decided to do that, at the very least trail with our ATR stop, which would have been our blue dots, so that would have locked in a 5.2R profit. So either way, that would have been a very, very nice trade there. So why did I start this webinar, or this video, by saying this encompasses exactly what we want to do at MTPredictor? Well, the reason I said that is if we go out to the 3-minute chart, the first thing that we actually managed to do was catch the very low there and the major support zone with our 15-minute DP. I'll just take that level off there, which was on our chart in advance. So in other words, what we do at MTPredictor is we work on our higher time frame support and resistance levels using our DPs, which are leading indicators. So that was on the chart there in advance. That caught the low absolutely beautifully. We then had a VS, or volume spike trade, where the market went through the previous low and then made a blue buy bar at our support level that indicated the professionals were reversing this market at this level, and then we're going to move it higher. That's the second of my favorite, that's my second of my favorite MTPredictor trades, along with our Holy Grail trade setup. So not only did we catch the low with higher time frame support, but also confirmed that with the volume reversal. Then on the shorter time frame, we had to go down to the 2-minute. This was our Holy Grail trade setup with MTPredictor. This is actually the reason MTPredictor was designed in the first place over 14 years ago, to catch this what I call the Holy Grail trade setup, catch the wave 2, end of the wave 2, to then trade the wave 3. And as we've seen, we got a strong wave 3 kind of swing where we managed to catch a profit that was approximately 6.5 times greater than initial risk. So yesterday encompassed the main things that we want to use MTPredictor for, and that's for gauging higher time frame support and resistance, our VS setup where we get in the same direction as the professional money, or using volume to indicate which direction the professionals are going in, and then also our Holy Grail trade setup. So MTPredictor should not really be used for just the automatic setups as a mechanical system per se. In other words, where you're just using the automatic trades and following those. We like you to use a bit of discretion and a bit of intelligence based on our trading to be able to filter the trades. And like I said, the ones I particularly like and the ones that I look for in my own analysis are the VS setup, because that gets you in the direction of the professional money, and the Holy Grail trade setup, and all coming in the direction of the higher time frame support. And obviously we like to trade those when the pattern's nice and clear, and we get a good, nice, clear, clean setup as we did on this day. So that's why I wanted to look at that in this video today, that even though it was a short trading day yesterday, we actually had some brilliant examples of some MTPredictor analysis and trade setup. So I wanted to share that with everybody out there. And this analysis and these setups basically encompasses exactly what MTPredictor is about.